Welcome to another installment of Turn Up the AC Hot Takes with Reason on a solo edition. We're going to jump right into this one. Very excited to announce the return of Danny Garcia back to the ring. He's moving up to the 154-pound division, no longer campaigning at the welterweight division of 147. He's been inactive for a little while. He's scheduled to fight Jose Benavidez Jr. on July 30th, which is just over a month and a half from now. Jose Benavidez comes into the fight with a 38-4 record, with one draw, with 18 wins by way of knockout, and he's been stopped once. That was by Terrence Crawford at 147 back in, I think, 2018. Danny Garcia comes into this fight with a pretty good record as well of 36 wins, 3 losses, 21 wins by knockout. He is a 2-division world champion. He was unified at 140, and he was also a WBC champion at 147. Jose Benavidez and Danny Garcia, I think, is a pretty good fight for both of them at this point in their careers. Benavidez hasn't really been active lately. He's got one fight since 2018, and that was last year, I think it was. Yeah, it was November 13th of 2021 when he fought to a draw against Francisco Torres. It was a 10-rounder, and they fought to a draw, a majority draw. And Danny Garcia's most recent fight was back in December of 2020 when he fought unified welterweight champion, undefeated welterweight champion, Errol the Truth Spence Jr. And Danny took the L on that one. Pretty wide margin. I think Spence won 9, maybe 10 rounds. That was the most clear defeat Danny Garcia has on his resume. His other 2 losses were against Sean Porter and Keith Thurman. When he fought Keith Thurman, they unified their titles, and then when he fought Sean Porter, I believe that was for the vacant WBC title. Both narrow losses. In my opinion, I thought him and Thurman could have went either way. I actually had Garcia winning 115-113 over Thurman, but I wasn't mad at the scores being 115-113 in favor of Thurman. There was like 3 or 4 rounds that could have went either way. Thurman won a lot of rounds early, kind of got on his bike a little bit second half of the fight, which is where I thought Garcia made his move and made the fight very, very close. But he didn't come out with a W. And Thurman has never been the same since, because from that fight, he's been super inactive. But we'll talk about Thurman in a different video. But and then his fight against Sean Porter, another very close fight, tough to score, because Sean Porter likes to make them fights rugged and ugly, and get up in your space and force you to throw a lot more punches. That fight was very close. I would have loved to see them run it back. I actually thought that fight could have been a draw, but Sean Porter edged that decision out. Danny Garcia has fought everybody, pretty much. The only person he didn't fight in the welterweight division was basically Terrence Crawford. But hey, that's how it goes sometimes. Different side of the street, whatever you want to call it. I'm glad to see Danny Garcia back. He gets a lot of hate, you know what I'm saying, in my opinion. But if you look at his resume, he has a solid resume. The names he has on there. Yeah, and I know he hasn't beaten all the big names, because pretty much all the 3 biggest fights that he had at welterweight, he lost. 2 of them were very, very close, as I mentioned. The only one that wasn't was when he got beat by Errol Spence Jr. But Errol Spence Jr. is different. He's special. Danny Garcia is still a top guy. I still think he's got some fights left in him, some pretty good fights left in him. And his goal, basically, is to become a 3-division world champion. He said it in the past. He told us that he was considering moving up to 154. He's given himself a pretty decent layoff, about 19, almost 20 months by the time he gets back into the ring at the end of July. I'm glad to see him back. I actually believe that him moving up is going to help him prolong his career a little bit. I say that because I believe that we're going to see a stronger and obviously fresher Danny Garcia, because he's been, you know, off for almost 2 years. But what I mean by stronger Danny Garcia is, he mentioned how one of the reasons why he was moving up was because it was getting harder and harder to make 147 for him. So, you know, in doing so and making 147, that could take away some power, because you might, who knows what he had to do to get under the weight. You know, did he have to really drain himself, you know, in his last few fights at 147? We don't know. Only he really knows that answer. So I think it's good that he's moving up, because, you know, I think that he's going to show more power at 154, because it's going to be easier for him to make weight. He's not going to have to get, you know, cut so much to get down, you know, to 147. So it's going to be really good to see him back in the ring. As far as the fight's concerned, Jose Benavidez Jr. he's a pretty good fighter. He's nothing special. He's not no like top-notch fighter, but he's also not a trash fighter. He's got some power. He's got some good boxing skills. I thought he did extremely well when he fought Terrence Crawford, you know, 4 years ago. But that was 4 years ago. And I thought over the course of the fight, his leg, you know, because for those of you who don't know, Jose Benavidez was shot some years back in his leg. And in his fight against Terrence Crawford, I think his mobility as the fight went on kind of decreased and wasn't as good anymore. And you can see it in his leg. Like, he wasn't moving. He was just moving straight back. It was allowing Crawford to land. So hopefully that is not the case anymore, and that he's able to move more and have his leg not be such a burden on him when he fights. But as far as this fight goes, I think this is a perfect fight for Danny Garcia to come back and look good in. I believe Danny Garcia is going to win this fight. I actually believe he can stop Jose Benavidez Jr. Probably in the later rounds. I'd say maybe like 9-10 rounds. I believe that Danny Garcia can stop him. And that's what my prediction for this fight is. I believe Danny Garcia is going to stop Jose Benavidez Jr. and put himself on the winning track and setting himself up for some potential big fights at 154. Because there's a lot of names that he can fight. I mean, whether you like Danny Garcia or not, Danny Garcia is a big name in the sport of boxing. He's got a big following. He does good crowds. Barclays Center is a home away from home for him. He's fought there multiple times. He's had some of the biggest fights in the Barclays Center, including him when he fought Keith Thurman. Yeah, man. There's a lot for Danny Garcia, and I can't wait to see what comes next for him. I'm excited about this fight. As I said, I believe he's going to stop Jose Benavidez Jr. in the 10th round and then go from there. There's a lot of fights that he can take. Erickson Lubin, you know, there's Rosario, there's Tony Harrison. I think Tony Harrison and Danny Garcia could be a very, very entertaining fight at 154. That's one that I hope that he moves on to next after Benavidez. And then, you know, position himself for a title shot. And who knows who it's going to be at that time. Right now, top dog at 154 is the undisputed world champion of Jermell Charlo. So, yeah, man, go ahead and comment, hate, debate. Whatever you want to do, we appreciate it all. Let me know why I'm wrong. Let me know who you think is going to win this fight. Do you think Benavidez Jr. wins? Do you think Danny Garcia wins? Do you care? And what do you think will be next for Garcia if he's able to pull this off? Go ahead and let me know in the comments, and then let me know who you think's going to win and how. And until next time, this has been Reason. Turn up the AC Hot Takes, and we're out.